So today I came across this beautiful writing by Sri Aurobindo on Swadharma and Swabhav. And it was one of those things that, really struck me because I think a lot of people I know are going through different life changes. Especially my friends. I don't know if it's midlife crisis or what, but we're all questioning everything we know, and I'm sure a lot of you may have been in that phase or are in that phase. We're questioning everything we know, everything we've been taught. We want to do something different, change jobs, changed our lives, etc. So I thought this was a lovely piece of writing for any of us, right, in any stage where we're trying to explore and really trying to go inwards and understand who we are and what are we doing in life. That knocking on the door that we talk about, it comes to us in different stages. So I thought this writing was very beautiful. Line goes, in nature, each of us has a principle and will of our own becoming. Each soul is a force of self-consciousness that formulates an idea of the divine in it and guides by that its action and evolution, its progressive self-finding, its constant varying self-expression, its apparently uncertain but secretly inevitable growth to fullness. That is our Swabhav, our own real nature. The law of action determined by this Swabhav is our right law of self-shaping, function, working, which is our Swadharma. Okay, so I'll just break this down. So the first sentence we talked about, the principle here is our Purushat. And then he goes on to say, each soul is a force of self-consciousness that formulates an idea of the divine in it. So if we look at our own lives and understand, where we are in our own timeline, whether it's now or a few years before, you'll realize that throughout your life, you've been doing different things that are essentially nothing but an expression of yourself. So maybe, you took up a job somewhere 10 years ago that wasn't necessarily related to what you did in school or something that you didn't imagine, but going through that journey taught you something about yourself. And then you maybe went on to start your own business because you thought that was a calling, but, that changed over the years. And then you decide to go back and teach, or, maybe, but there have been times where we also feel like going inwards, right? We don't feel like doing anything and we just want to go inwards. So all of these things that we do in our lives, the phases that we go through, are nothing but a self-expression of the soul, right? We are trying to find out who we are. We're trying to find out what is it that I am most aligned to? What is my real nature? So this process of self-evolution is nothing but an expression of our true self. And then there's this line, which I thought is very powerful, which talks about it's a progressive self-finding in its constant varying self-expression, which seems apparently uncertain, but secretly inevitable growth to fullness. So when we look at where we are right now and we say, wow, I feel like I'm so much wiser. Why was I not here 20 years ago? Why did I say the things I said, do the things I did? And, why didn't I get here sooner? It's because everything that we're doing, it might seem like it's random and that it's uncertain and that, it's not by design. But the soul that, we all come into this earth with is trying to find out who it really is. So even though on the outside, all our decisions and our, sometimes actions seem uncertain, there is secretly a process of happening that exists, right? Which is essentially inevitable growth. It's a growth journey. It's a growth journey for the soul to really come into itself. And this Sri Aurobindo says, when you go through these life phases and you finally come into some sort of an understanding of what it is that I really, enjoy being, not just doing, but who do I enjoy being? That is our Swabhav. That journey of discovery as we go through all these different phases in life is our Swabhav. And any action, so the law of action determined by this Swabhav is nothing but our Swadharma. How beautifully described, the definition of Swadharma and Swabhav. And this paragraph kind of gave me a bit of an idea to say, before you even go to figuring out what is your Swadharma, I think it's important to understand what is your Swabhav, what is your true nature. A lot of times we're wondering, what is my purpose? What should I be doing in the next 10 years? Where should I go? And the answer to that is very much hidden in understanding our true nature, who we really are, what is our Swabhav. Because in this pursuit of trying to become something in the world, the soul is taking on all these different self expressions, and we're learning through that journey. So it's very important, to kind of be aware and know that, every time that we make decisions and actions, especially when we surrender those, there is a process of happening under the process of what we think that we're doing.